A Tonali wonder strike and a late goal to seal it at the end for Nick Valdemada. Newcastle 3, Aston Villa 1, and a bad evening for Unai Emery and Aston Villa. But what a weird game. What a strange evening of football. Terrible refereeing decisions. We saw why we need VAR, even though VAR makes some terrible subjective decisions. 2 Stonewall penalties not given. A Stonewall red card not given. A weird night. An offside goal given. Personally, I might get in a little bit of trouble for this. I might get another legal letter from the PGMOL. I've only had 4. I've had 4 so far. But personally, I watched it and thought to myself, are they purposefully making these terrible errors so that football fans ask for VAR to stay? Is it like a ploy? You know, when you're a kid and your mum and dad like, can you make me a cup of tea? You're like, I don't know how. And you make a really bad cup of tea in the hope they don't ask you to make one again. Was it that type of logic tonight? Because for me, absolutely abysmal. Abysmal. It was great to see Manchester United's new central midfielder, Tonali, tear it up today and put in a masterclass as well. Can't wait to sign him in the summer as part of our rebuild under Michael Carrick as we go back towards winning Premier League titles. So thank you, Tonali. A great night. I'm only saying that because Kane's backstage. That'll get clipped by some wanker that thinks it's serious. But yeah, look, on a real level, sorry, Terry, did you watch the rugby union today? Yeah, I did. Look, Scotland deserved it. Scotland were very, very good today. England, I felt we made a lot of unforced errors when we were in really good. Look, my terminology, I would never talk rugby as a pundit. My terminology will be off. But I felt when we were in really good territory, when we were in really good moments, we were close to getting tries. We rushed things, a lot of knock-ons, a lot of unforced errors and penalties that we conceded. Stupid. Actually, one thing I love about rugby is the second yellow, essentially, we got today, which led to what they call the 20-minute red card, where the player can't come back on, but 20 minutes later, you can bring a sub on for that player. I love what they do in rugby, how sometimes, even though you didn't mean to hurt the guy, you have to be aware of your surroundings. You know, sometimes in the box, you'll just throw a leg out for the ball and you might catch a player and people go, well, it's a natural coming together. In rugby, it's all about being aware of your surroundings and are you putting people at risk? But yeah, England weren't good enough today. Scotland deserved the Calcutta Cup. And congratulations to them. It's not quite a sin bin. It's different from a sin bin, the 20-minute yellow card. But we're not getting into rugby union rules today. We're not doing that. But for me, look, I want to speak about today's game before I start bringing the callers out. Newcastle deserved it. And they really did. Look, Villa were the better team to begin with, in my view. Only marginally, though. Villa were slightly the better team. But you know, when you're away from home and you're in a cup tie, what you need is really good refereeing. Because as much as people laughed at Rodri last week, what Rodri said was absolutely correct. Most football matches are quite close. So we live in this world, and I blame the manosphere for this, even before the manosphere was a thing of this, everybody's got to take accountability for everything that happens, no matter what, even if it ain't your fault. What a weird thing to say. What a weird and utterly brain-dead point of view to have on every element of life. And in football, it's very similar. When you're in close games, when you're in close-knit, tight games, you need the refereeing to be very good. It's never going to be perfect, but you need it to be very, very good. And in that first half, up until that red card, you even look at the stats, 6 shots to 4. Slightly more of the ball to Newcastle. But I felt Villa just looked a little more potent in their attacks. That's just my personal opinion, but very close. But Newcastle deserved it tonight because they scored an offside goal, Aston Villa. And listen, it wasn't offside by a hair's breadth, where in real time it's impossible to tell. He was so far offside. What is the linesman looking at? I cannot believe it was given. Cannot believe they allowed that goal to stand. Good finish from Tammy Abraham, but it shouldn't have stood. Then Lewis Hall was taken out. Absolute stonewall penalty. Even Sunderland fans I follow online are like, oh my God, that was a penalty. Then Digne puts in a disgusting tackle that's not just shin high, but it's stud showing. 2 huge stud marks in the shin, bleeding of the player. Only a yellow card given. Massive velocity in the tackle. If Murphy's foot is planted on the ground and the stud gets stuck, his leg snaps. I think it was Murphy that was fouled. Okay, absolutely ridiculous. The goalkeeper then gets sent off, and I'm not going to lie to you. It is a red card because it is a high tackle. But I actually find that one to be more harsh than the one they didn't give, because he didn't actually catch him with his shins, and it would have had an open goal to shoot at, but it was an angle that was covering defenders. That seemed, it is a red card, but if you're going to weigh the 2 red cards up, the goalkeeper's red card was less of a red card than the one that was given, but it was correct. It was correct. And then the most blatant penalty again in the second half. Dinger jumps up and his arms are out on purpose, making himself bigger, hits his arm. The whole world and his dog. What are the 4th official, the lino, and the ref looking at? He was 4 or 5 yards in the box. They gave a free kick 3 or 4 yards outside the box. Great for Newcastle. They actually scored directly from that. It was really good for Newcastle. They scored directly from it. Tonali shot, deflects, and goes in. Then Tonali just scores an absolute peach. And it was one of those shots that I think everyone watching knew was in the second it left his foot. You see it. It's the way it's moving. It's almost like time stands still, and you have all the time in the world to go, right, it's going in. It's going to delicately go into the bottom corner. It's going to cushion the net, and it's going to send a ripple across, and the crowd's going to cheer. And what a strike. And look at the body movement. Look at the touch. Look at the execution. You almost see it all. Even though it's a split second, it feels like it's in slow motion. Such a great shot. Goes into the back of the net. 2-1. And look, by the way, I did put a bet on. Once the red card happened, that's when I had a little bet today. A little bet on Newcastle to win in 90 minutes and Newcastle to qualify. Little £100. Thank you for the £380, Newcastle. You absolute legends. And it was done for me. And look, they had a little bit of an attack. Nick Voldemar nicks a goal at the end. I don't know why Villa are trying to play it from the back. Really well done by Newcastle. As I say, I think they deserved it overall, because really they should have been playing against 9 men. Really, they should have had 2 penalties in the game. So and the goal they conceded shouldn't have stood. So based on the balance of the game and the horrendous decisions that went against Newcastle, I really was happy they won today. It would have been an injustice to the game. And as Dave says here, and, me and Dave clash on a lot of things, but this is one I want to give him his flowers. He's spot on here. Those asking for VAR to go, just watch today's game. VAR can never go. And do you know what? By and large, I agree. Goal line tech, it needs to be there for. Offsides, it needs to be there for. And do you know what? Maybe it's about... Today, it was just... Forget the subjectivity. The red card tackle for a minute, not giving the penalty for the handball inside the box. So again, maybe just have it there for the errors where you go, well, you think it's handball. Yes, we're confirming it was handball, but it was in the box, not outside of it. You just need it for at least those 3 things: goal line tech, offsides, and actual errors that are made. You need it. You can't not have it anymore. And although there are some fans who go, nah, football's better without it, when you actually look at who they support, they're teams that win 70, 80% of their games, win most of the trophies. They don't really see the marginal gains because they're often so much better than everybody else. But for other teams and for the rest of the playing field, you need it. So well done to Newcastle for keeping your heads, maintaining that composure today as well. Because you could have allowed yourselves to become a little bit panicked, overplay, mess up, let the pressure grind you down, and you didn't. So massive, massive, massive congratulations to the Toon Army, because you deserved it today. Definitely a handball. The look of guilt on his face. Well, it's not about whether it was a handball or not. It was the fact that the referee, linesman, and 4th official, and the linesman at the other end of the pitch, they all thought there was about a 10-yard difference in. So it was 3 to 4 yards, maybe 10's an exaggeration. It was 3 to 4 yards in the box, and they gave a free kick 3 to 4 yards outside of it. Where is that 6 to 7 to 8 yard swing coming from? The fuck's wrong with their eyes, bruv? Pink eye. Must be pink eye, all them sex parties that David Coote used to throw. A bit of pink eye in there. Tonali wants that cut. Yeah, listen, Tonali, man. I don't know. Chin chin. No, it's not. It's What? How do you say cheers? They always say it in the gangster movies in Italian. What is it they say? They say a word. Not muscle toss. That's Hebrew. What is the word they say? Salut. Welcome to Manchester United, baby. I'm just trying to wind up. I can see Kane getting annoyed. There we go. VAR has made referees worse in real time. They are consistently managing technology. But to be honest with you, I don't know if they've made them worse. It's just, for me, when we get rid of it, you remember how many bad mistakes they made by game. The only thing I call out now, and I did a big video on Terry Fluer's TV about it yesterday, and it's the fact that they say weird things. I was breaking down what the PGMOL and Howard Webb said about Fabian Schär's tackle on Phil Foden earlier in the season, and then the leg break on Isak, why they said there's no punishment for it. They said they're natural collisions in higher stake moments. So then how can a goalkeeper rushing out to stop a goal who takes a player out, how can that be a foul? Because that's a high stake moment and a natural collision. He's trying to win the ball. And therefore someone, oh no, because the goalie's going with his hands. But what if the goalie goes in with his feet like Van der Ven did? They also stated that even if Isak's shot went wide and his leg still got broke, it wouldn't have been a foul. And I'm like, why? Because it's a natural collision. But yet Maguire's on Jimenez's wasn't a natural collision. Equally, they made a massive point that if a player can't play the ball, it's not a foul. Ability to play the ball is the term in the law. Yet at the weekend, Gomez was never. Nunez was not going to get onto the ball. Yet Liverpool conceded the penalty. And this is a bit of VAR that annoys me. It's great for stopping the mistakes, but how did they get the subjectivity so wrong? Equally, we saw Chelsea get 2 penalties for pushes in the back, and then the other day a Brighton player blatantly pushes a Villa player over like that, two palm push in the chest over, no penalty given. It's hard to talk to dumb people, man. That's what VAR, they're dumb. So I look forward to your full for fifth legal letter from the PGMOL. I'll be forwarding it on to my lawyers. That's why there's a certain sentence that I put in all the descriptions of my videos, so I can't be sued. As long as I have that, I'm okay. Plus I have insurance, so go fuck yourselves, PGMOL. Chris Kavanagh is a professional ref, by the way. Professional. I know I need to sound really offensive then. I've not even had a drink. This is actually Pepsi Mac. Right, Kane's joining me. Kane's joining me to have his say on the tune. On the tune. A little talk on the tune. Where are we? There we go. Congratulations on the win, mate. A brilliant comeback, a masterful performance I felt from Tonali. But you were sort of playing against 13, 14, 15 men tonight with the referees who it felt like an agenda against you, but you must be very proud of your boys.
Yeah, man. Like you said, when Aston Villa went down to 13 men when the keeper got sent off, I was hopeful at that point that we may have a chance of this. But yeah, the officiating, I don't know what it is. I think we've had this game and the PSG game now where the officiating across the board has been horrendous for us. But listen, we got the win. That's the big thing. We're in the hat for the next round now, and that was a big scalp we took there. Aston Villa away is going to be a tough game for anyone. So, how are the lads?
Do you know what it is? When you get these really tough away games in the FA Cup, it can feel a little ominous, especially with your away form. And that's why I was feeling sorry for you. The offside goal, the penalties not being given, the first red card. You're sitting there and going, look, I'm not a Newcastle fan, but I'm going to defend them here because football is more important than petty tribalism in these moments. And it almost felt orchestrated, maybe not to hurt you, but like I was saying, if it came out tonight that the PGMOL said, look, let's have a stinker so everybody makes us keep VAR, that'd be less shocking than their incompetency. I'd be less shocked by that because it felt so weird, Kane.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm dumbfounded. I'm honestly, I honestly don't have the words to describe the officiating in this game. I don't know if it's the refs and the linesmen becoming too over reliant on VAR to bail them out, and so they're not really trying or don't know how to referee a game anymore. But I mean, even I could forgive some of the smaller ones, but yeah, like you said, the handball, I think even the Lewis Hall foul in the first half, how that wasn't given as a penalty when Lindelof doesn't even touch the ball. it's one of those where I can't explain how they even come to some of these decisions. I don't even see the logic that they can apply to think, yeah, this is the decision I'm going with. It baffles me. It truly is. It's a justice for football that we went through. I think this round for this game in particular, because that was horrendous.
No, I agree. I do think it was a good thing for football. The bad bit is that none of it will now be discussed, and it should be. And I think that's why it's important. Even though Newcastle fans, like for me, Newcastle should be happy to go through. Your board should be writing a letter tomorrow for a full explanation on those decisions. How those, I mean, I can kind of get maybe one of the ref, the linesman, or the fourth official not seeing that Digne was in the box, but all three of them not seeing it. That just tells me they're daydreaming. What are they doing?
That linesman on that side, it's him again, because he was the one who gave he was out of position for the Villa goal. That wasn't a goal. He's then has the clearest view of where the player lands for the handball, and he's just had an absolute stinker. I honestly, I don't know what he's been watching. He must be like Ramsdale. He's probably saw a butterfly and got distracted.
Distracted by pigeons. I wanted to ask you about a certain player tonight. Tonali's obviously been, all jokes aside, he's been under a lot of speculation and pressure, but he really, not just the goals, but he really stepped up tonight when you needed him.
Yeah, man. He's my favourite player in Newcastle. You can see the talent the guy has. I think, it's an interesting situation he finds him in. I don't think this is him wanting out of Newcastle because of the project or anything like that. I honestly think, I mean, not a lot of the viewers will probably know, but he had a baby in November, which is when his form kind of dropped. And between him and his missus, it's their first kid. They're in Newcastle alone with no family. And I think it's more that they want to be closer to family for the bairn. I mean, as a dad yourselves, you will know, like, the first time you have a kid, shit gets a bit more difficult. So I'm hoping by the summer they may have found themselves a bit more chilled out with the new one, and a bit more stable. And we may not have the saga of the summer like we did last year, but you never know. If it is about the project and that, I mean, you could see in the celebrations today, and even there was clips of him celebrating the goals against Spurs. Like, you can see I think he's still invested in this team and in this project. I think he's just going through a hard time personally right now, and it's enough to move.
As you said that, I just checked the consensus chart. So, you know, there's almost 400% more Italian people in Manchester compared to.
I think the problem you've got for Manchester, Terry, is you might have to sack another 200 dinner ladies to afford him. But listen, for me, I think if he does go, I think it'll be a Juventus if they can afford him, because he signed that 1 year extension to his deal. So he's in Newcastle till 2030. So if no one comes in for him. So it's going to be an expensive deal, whoever comes in for him. Arsenal, I saw obviously in January. Again, it's London, so maybe it's a bit closer, and, you know, that might sway him enough. But again, it's going to cost a lot of money for whichever team wants to come for him. But listen, what a player.
No, I agree. Ash, another one of your players who stood out tonight was Valdemada, and I think he was getting quite a bit of criticism from the commentators, and I agreed with it. And it actually reminded me a little bit of Wayne Rooney, but Rooney did it when he had other strikers on the pitch, dropping a little deep, great with the ball at his feet, but just not getting himself to maybe where he should be as a striker. But he got that goal today. How important do you think that is for his confidence moving forward?
Oh, it's massive. Like, I'm very, very happy for Valdemada that he got his goal. He did this thing with GQ. That if people have seen some of his outfits he's been wearing, and he got asked questions about the own goal he did against Sunderland. It's actually something that people should be taking away with this, that players look at social media. Valdemada looked at social media right after he did the own goal and saw the Newcastle fans support him. So stuff like this, he'll be able to see Newcastle fans are on him. They've got his back, that he's got his goal. It's massive for his confidence, and it's definitely needed. Obviously, another person was obviously Lewis Hall, that had an outstanding game yet again. But yeah, Valdemada, I think the only issue that he had, I guess, was the fact that Johan Wissa obviously got to fitness, so there was always going to be rotation between them. We've not had the best season, to be honest, but it is what it is. I'm very happy that the football gods actually turned this game around, because holy shit, I did not know what to say watching this game. I have never been so speechless. I was actually at a point that people would see me in group chats and stuff. I just didn't care anymore. I was like, what is going on in this game? Because I have never seen such poor officiating. Like, it's absolutely horrific, but at least the result went the correct way. Obviously, there should have been red cards. There should have been a penalty. That obviously Sandro ended up getting a goal from the free kick, which justice.
There's a comment for you there, Ash. There's a comment for you.
You're not wrong. Hey, listen, actually, do you know what? He does normally score against Villa. That's one team he does normally score
he
against.
Does like a goal against them.
Yeah.
So I always feel like he should score a little bit more. Like he is a very technically gifted football player. And I said, you know, I know it's a bit of a joke, and I don't mean it in a negative way. It's why listen, as soon as I saw our link to him, I'm praying we get him. Like, no disrespect to you guys. I think he's phenomenal, you know, and like, he was very, very, very good today, and you know, really stepped up, especially with the news of Bruno Guimaraes missing for a prolonged period. You need the players to then go and step up, and he did that today.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for Sandro, I guess why he doesn't really have many goals in his game, is because when he plays with Bruno, Sandro normally sits a bit deeper and Bruno goes a little bit further forward, so he doesn't necessarily have that freedom that what Bruno has. But I mean, we all know when he does get up, he does have the ability to strike the ball. But yeah, he's an unbelievable player. And to be fair, if he does go to someone like Man United or Arsenal or anything like that, he's going to go for a big fee. And I mean, to be honest, we have the likes of Lewis Miley that would go and cover that position. So I'm not someone who, like, the same with the Isak situation. I'm not a fan that thinks, oh my God, a player should be playing for Newcastle. At the end of the day, there are bigger clubs than us, especially at the moment. Like Bruno Guimaraes, if Real Madrid came for him, I know full well he would go there, because that's been his lifelong passion and dream, even though he's a Geordie. These things do happen, but it will be a big fee, and we'll see how the rest of the season goes.
Listen, I hear that, mate. And look, all jokes aside, he's a top player, and of course I want him. But if anyone does try and take him from you guys, it's going to be a massive fee. It's going to be huge salaries, and that's also, you know, a reason why he might go. But let's see how the season pans out first. You guys might win the Champions League. You might stay. Who knows? Phil, it was a really important win today, because there's been a lot of pressure put on Eddie Howe. There's a lot of prominent Newcastle fans online that have been calling for his head. You know, starting the game the way you did, the referee being against you, being able to come back and win in that way must feel very satisfying for a fan like yourself.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't have summarized it better, to be honest. And yeah, going a goal down, worry away to Villa, an away game as well to a team like Villa was always going to be a worry. So, like there's a few people that I know that are, you know, really don't like VAR and are like, it's killing the game. And I love them and respect them, but guys, VAR for life. For me, I don't know. I don't care what anybody says. This is the reason why games like this is the reason why we had VAR in the first place. I'm not saying it's a perfect system with perfect people that are manning it, but these type of games were where teams were losing a lot of the times. And I do feel like it's usually fans that are supporting the bigger clubs who are quite anti-VAR, because they're saying it's killing the game, because they're used to their teams being on the front foot, and they're used to their teams kind of getting those decisions as a result of that. But they forget that the other clubs on the other side of those decisions who have kind of bore the brunt of it. So I think this game, people might think, what am I talking about? But if you watch the game, there were some insane decisions in this game. Because of the VAR. But look, we came out on top. A lot of, like I said, prominent Toon fans. Again, some of the prominent ones didn't want Eddie Howe in the first place. In fact, the very first show and thumbnail that they made was, we got Eddie Howe, how embarrassing, something along the lines of that. So that's on them. But Eddie Howe's an elite manager, and I'm really, really happy that he's at Newcastle United.
Yeah, look, I remember last season when everybody was talking about him being sacked, and you end up winning you a trophy, you get back into the Champions League, and I think people are I think there are still some Newcastle fans, and it's really unfortunate that they're just not. They kind of blame. There's a bit of blame that goes on to PSR, but then most of the time it's just the manager. They forget like the fact that you are slightly hamstrung by the fact that you don't yet have the income of other teams. I remember one of the first press conferences I ever listened to when your new owners came in, and they said to get us to being a team that can actually challenge and sustain it, we're looking at a minimum 10 years, and yet. You're only like 4.5 years, 5 years into that. You've already been in the Champions League twice. You've won a trophy, but everybody wants it today. You know, this isn't the era that where if City got taken over by the Sheikh and Roman took over Chelsea today, they would never have done what they wouldn't be where they are now.
But
because
Terry, imagine this, because
sorry, mate, go on.
So you made a really good point. So I hate to interrupt you, but you made a really good point. But say it's the other way around. Say Newcastle owners took over Newcastle during Chelsea and during City days. Would have been
exactly. Your owners, if your owners were allowed to spend like those guys were initially, I mean, there's so. I think people got to put this into context. They are something like 900% richer than Cities. In fact, they are richer than every other owner, including Cities in the league combined. They have that much more, and that is, by the way, not even worth. That is cash wealth. They can spend it. So it just can't be done. So that's why Newcastle fans, I think you've got to show an element of patience, because it's going to take you're building in a way that those guys didn't have to. They could. City got 5 years of it where it was just unlimited money could be spent, and that just isn't the case anymore.
And you know, when we do eventually make it, they're going to get a similar stick that successful clubs get, like Man United and Liverpool have got, but in a different way, where people will get kind of fan amnesia, and they'll say, if they didn't get money, they'll forget all these hard times and ups and downs. Say, if it wasn't for money, if it wasn't, that's what happens with success.
No, mate, I agree. Look, people do it now with Man United, and I've had this debate with people on air, and I actually quite enjoy it because I've got the facts in front of me. Fergie just came in and spent more than everybody else. 10th highest spender in the first 15, 16 years. Because although we were big Man United, when he first arrived, our stadium was half empty. There were other stadiums in the country that held more attendance than us. A whole big part of his plan was getting fans back in, building the stadium, making it bigger. The whole master plan was the bigger the stadium, the more match day revenue. That's when match day revenue was your biggest earner. And I remember listening to him talk in the 90s, and he said, with our stadium is that much bigger now than Liverpool's, because Liverpool's at the time were our biggest rival. He said, we essentially make per game week, we pull £2 million clear of Liverpool every home game. And back then that was the difference between maintaining your squad and having to sell players. But it was all part of the plan. It wasn't we woke up one morning and suddenly had all this money. It had to be built over a 15 to 20 year period. And that's just what you guys are going, which is why when people say, how can a team ever capture Man United? It's going to take you decades, the same way it took us decades and decades and decades to get to that level. So, you know, that's just the nature of it. So I'm really happy for Eddie Howe today and your boys. Phil.
Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure, my friend. I appreciate it a lot. We're live, ladies and gentlemen, after Brighton and Liverpool's game. This is going to redirect you to Dom Hussam's watch-along. So go and support him. Call him a fraud for me. And we're going to catch you all again very, very soon. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. See you in a bit. Peace.